about needing some grass. And he was describing a business out where I lived. And what he said to me was, oh, and I'll go with you if you want me to. I'm thinking, okay, yeah, like I can't conduct business on my own, but okay, Daddy, all right, I'm good with that. You all have heard about him being on this roof, right? So one day I was out here, and I saw his white truck and the ladder and the pulling thing. I'm thinking, okay. And I looked up, and I saw him, and I went, and I'm like, and some men was standing with me. I said, if y'all don't get my daddy off that roof. And I meant that. 90, in his 90s. It was crazy. One thing that hasn't been shared was he was the union president of the local roofers union. And he was the one who was involved with building their local union hall, which still sits on Central Avenue just south of Lake. It's a church now, but he was the one who built it. But what that life allowed him to do was travel. My parents have been to Canada, California, Hawaii, and I love a picture of them when they were in Mexico. My mom and my daddy were sitting on donkeys with sombreros on their head. And now that was funny. And that also allowed me a little perk. So my senior year of high school, my daddy had a trip to Las Vegas. So I got to go to Vegas for a week with my parents. Senior year, and that was the year the movie Grease. Now, the young people don't know what Grease is. But Grease came out that year. And we were on the plane, and I had to be the youngest person on the plane because I was laughing hilariously. And they said something to my mama about it. I'm like, okay, I don't know. Y'all just old. I don't know if y'all don't get the movie or what, but that's your problem. Since I thought I was the only child growing up, my dad had a truck, and my mother didn't really drive. So one day she had me to take her to Sister Allie Robinson's house. And those in Mount Pilgrim know Allie Robinson. So my dad was a brand new truck, and I thought I was doing something. I was backing up, and I hit a pole, put a dent in his truck. What I learned was that was the way to get your own car. So for my 17th birthday, I got my first car. But just a beautiful life. So I considered my daddy to be my protector until I got married, and then my husband was my protector. Well, then when my husband passed away last year, I think Daddy tried to step back into that role as protector. So needless to say, I've had a wonderful life. Now, all the men who've ever stood here in these last couple of days and talked about how he mentored you, I got to thinking, most of you may not know, but my brother Larry came into our lives only 4 years ago. But my brother Roger passed away in 1974. And I started thinking about that, and I truly believe that God allowed Daddy to use his gift for all you men as a substitute for the son he had lost. Because when my brother came into our life, the one thing he said to me that night when he shared with me, and his voice got so excited, he was starting off a simple conversation, and then he said, well, you got another brother. I was like, okay. I said, well, how do you feel about that? And he said, well, I am so excited, but I'm just, he's old and I can't really teach him anything. I was like, okay. But later we had a Zoom call. And what my daddy said on that Zoom call, we were getting ready to end, and I was trying to introduce my brother to our, my daddy, nieces, and nephews, my first cousins. And Larry said, Dad, pray us out. And he said, well, before I do that, there's just something I have to say. And Daddy said, when my brother passed away, Roger, he said, I got low and I was down. He said, but when you came into my life, when Larry came into his life, it just lifted his spirits. So he had a son again. And my brother is just, it's like we've always been family. And that's been that way But what that also showed me was when my son passed away in 2015, my daddy said something like, the Lord will give you another son. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not Sarah and Abram. So I don't know how that's going to work. But when Larry came, I told him the same words he said to me. I said, you told me God would give me another son. I said, but he literally gave you another son. And he was excited about that. But what that also did was God rewards faithfulness. So where I just had 3 children, he gained 3 more grandchildren, so 6 grandchildren. Where I had 1 grandchild, where I had 3 children, he had 6. So when I had 1 grandchild, my brother Larry had 14 grandchildren. And then he also had 2 great-grandchildren, and Miss Nova is here with us today. So God rewards faithfulness. So being a servant will pay off. It's hard. It is so hard. But Proverbs 17:6 says, children's children are a crown to the aged, and parents are the pride of their children. So I stand before you today, peacock proud, as they can say, because of how my daddy lived his life. And I try to follow. And honestly, I would go to places, when I first started going to the conventions and stuff, I really didn't say I was Deacon Norman's daughter or anything because I really didn't want to embarrass him. That was number one. But, people learned me over time. And so I spoke at True Love a couple years ago, and my daddy got up and said, that's my daughter. And I am so proud of her. And every child wants to know that they've made their daddy proud. So I stand here and I say goodbye to my daddy. And I know he loved me. And it's almost as if it's kind of indescribable because I have this just sense of okay, he's my daddy and he belongs to me. So when others cherish him, and it doesn't bother me a bit because I know at the end of the day, he's still my daddy.
To our presider, Reverend Boone, Pastor Reid, other pastors, and to each of you here today, how can I say thanks? All right. I'll just say it. Thanks to each of you who have come today to celebrate. We have been separated for a while from a true friend in Eddie B. Norman. As I remember my husband, Eddie B. Norman, Bay, he has supported me throughout these 37 years. About 330,420 hours. 19,825,200 minutes. This is how it would go in our household. Good morning, babe. This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior all the day long. Praising him for affording me the opportunity to share with you 37 years, 37 wonderful years. You have been a supportive husband. For that, I can't let a day go by without praising the Lord. I could not let this day go by without sharing how much you mean to me. I remember a song that says, I shall wear a crown. I do believe Eddie has his crown. It also says, I will see his face. I believe Eddie has done that as well. When he would go out, on his return home, he would see my face.
All right.
Well, he went home to be with the Lord. Therefore, he was able to see his face.
Lord have mercy.
I can imagine the Lord saying, welcome, faithful servant Eddie B. Norman. Well done. Grateful, grateful, grateful. I am grateful for the time we spent together. Flowing from my heart is love. I will remember the 37 years God allowed us to share with each other face to face. I want to share with you how serious Eddie was about church, his salvation. When we were planning our wedding, I suggested a Saturday before a first Sunday. He said politely, the next day is communion, which meant he was not willing to miss. The date was changed. Communion is a time Christians celebrate Christ's crucifixion, but more especially Christ's resurrection. The blood that gives me strength, that gives you strength from day to day, it will never lose its power. It reaches to the highest mountain and it flows to the lowest valley. Signed, sealed, and delivered. I love